I'm going to start Zion. So we were discussing over here that the meaning of that the Ein Sof is Lamaila Maila the Kates is means the level of Atzilus. As we've said, Atzilus comes from the level of the Ein Sof. Over there is the Yichud in Atzilus and higher than Atzilus is the Yichud with the world over there with the Olam Hatzilus with the Netzolim is one. So that's called Lamaila Maila. And Lamata Mata is talking about Biyah. And within Biyah, we're talking about Olam HaAsiyah, which within Asiyah itself is the lowest of the level. The Rebbe is now going to explain that within each one of the worlds, whether it's in Atzilus, we have also both Madreges. We have Maila and Mata. And also in Biyah, in the lower worlds, we also have Maila and Mata. So basically, Maila and Mata exists throughout the levels. On a general level, we're calling Atzilus Maila and Biyah Mata. But more specifically, within Atzilus, there is Maila and Mata, and within Biyah, there's Maila and Mata. Zion. Rebbe adds, Yesh lahoisif, we can add, Zesh and Nisba'er li'il, Shamailo Mata, Heim Atzilus Ubiyah. This that we explained before, that Milo Mata is Atzilus and Biyah, Hu Bechlolus. That's in a general way. Avol Biprotius, but more specifically in detail, Inyan the Milo Mata, the concept, the idea of top and bottom, who hein ba'atzilus v'hein b'biyah, are both in Atzilus. There is Milo Mata and Biyah. The gam ba'atzilus u'lo ma'atzilus yesho inyan the Mata. Also in Atzilus, or even higher than Atzilus, there's also there the idea of Mata. Generally, Atzilus is Maila, but within Atzilus, there's the idea of Mata. And the same on the other hand, Shegam b'biyah yesha inyan the Maila. That also in biyah there is the concept, the idea of Maila. Biyah generally is Mata, but within the Mata, there's also the Maila. Rebbe explains now. The idea is the mitis ha'inyan the ein aroich, the true idea that we say that there is no comparison. There is no comparison means when we say ein aroich, which means shekol ha'ilamis heim be'ein aroich legabe yisbarich, that all worlds are incomparable, have no comparison relative to Hashem. So when we say this concept of ein aroich, Usha'atzilus, v'gam l'mayla ma'atzilus v'asiya hen b'shaveh mamet. That means that Atzilus, and even what's higher than Atzilus, and Asiya are actually the same equally, relative to the level of Hashem, the Gabi Yisborach, relative to Hashem, all the worlds have no comparison, so that the highest of the level, which is Atzilus, and higher than Atzilus, and the lowest, Asiya, and the same. That's how much there is no comparison to him in worlds. It's not compared that the Eibishter looks at the world. In other words, Atzilus is no greater than Asiya by the Eibishter. The Inyan zeh hu davke legabe eire sof shelifne hatzimtzum. This idea that it's all the same, that the highest of the levels and Asiya just the same before Legabe is only relative to the Ein Sof, which is before the Tzimtzum. The Bahamadreges shel Achere HaTzimtzum, because when we talk about the steps, the levels after the Tzimtzum, in other words, after the Ein Sof went through the restriction to allow for the Cholol Amokim Ponu, to allow for the space for the world, Mikivon shekol hamadreges hem b'derech ishtalshelus. Since all the levels are in a way of ishtalshelus, which is ilov olu, cause and effect. It's a chain effect. So there is a relationship between the upper level and the lower level. So it's has to be that the cause or the upper link is higher than the result than the consequence, because this is the order. So you can't say that everything is the same. So basically, when relative to the Ein Sof Lifnei Hatzimtzum, Atzilus and Asiya are equal. But once we go through Tzimtzum, which is the level of Hishtalshelus, over there one comes from the other, so there is one greater than the other, and you can't say that the highest level, the Ilo of Atzilus and the Olul of Biyah, is on the same level. V'gam legabe Eir Hakav. Also, relative to the light of the Kav, which after the Tzimtzum, the Eibishter was mamshich the Kav into the world to be Mechaya the world. So even that's already the Oir, which is after the Tzimtzum. Yesh laha'olamois eiza erech. So the world have some sort of a relationship. It's a compare. There is some comparison. So it has to be the Mekivon says Havus ha'olam is mahakav hi al yidei gilui hakav. The since creation of the worlds from the kav is that the kav is revealed, the revelation of the kav. The chol pu'ula, because every time when there is an act, in this case, the act is creating the world. So if the Kav creates the world, he al yidei his galus hapoyel, and that is through the worker, or in this case, the Kav is being revealed. So behechrech sheyesh lahem eiza erech legabe hakav, and so we say that there is some comparison to the Kav. It's not equal. It's not the highest level. So the Oilamos have some sort of a connection. It's a shtalshlus to the Kav. As opposed to the Ein Sof, which is before the relative to that. So over there, over there, the worlds are totally not comparable, but in such a way that Atzilus and Asiya are mamish equal. Omikivon sha'ir hasevev shemeir ba'olam is b'bchinas makif al kol ponim. So the Eir hasevev, the Eir that surrounds the world, that comes from what? That comes from Lifnat Tzimtzum. Who are in soft to Lifnat Tzimtzum. So the light that is Sovev in the world, that's from the Einus of the Lifnat Tzimtzum. That's the light, the Sovev. L'chein al yidei Eir haSovev nirgash bahem b'bchinas makif al koponim sheim be'ein arich. So that's why through the Eir that is Sovev, Adei ha'er ha'sevev, through the er which is sevev, is nirgash b'chinas makiv ha'kolponim shehem be'ein areich. So they feel okay, not in an inner, but from the level of sevev, which is the makiv, that they're be'ein areich. Basically, the two oires that shine in the world. One is the oir of Ishtalshelus, which is the light of the Kav, and because it has to work the Gilu HaKav, it means that, therefore, that there is a difference between the higher level and the lower level. So there is a value there, because So therefore, the Ein Aroich, so the two are the Ein Aroich is relative to. I think I skipped a few words over here before. I skipped a few words when he talks about Mashenki legabe Ein Sof shelifnei hatzimtzum. Mekivon shemitzad hagilui the Sof loy hoya efsher liyesisavus oilamos, since that from the perspective of the revelation of Ein Sof, there could not be creation of the world. The Eibishter could not create a world inside of the Ein Sof when the Ein Sof was shining. It needed to be the tzimtzum of mokum chol upon shalachin, because the world could not exist with the Ein Sof there alone. There needed to be removing that light. That way it became a hollow, an empty space, so the worlds can stand. And therefore, relative to the Ein Sof that's lifnei hatzimtzum, then the worlds are totally not comparable and totally not in the same level at all. So in a way that Atzilus and Asiya are mamash equally. So and since the light of Sovev that shines in the Ilmas in a way of Makiv, at least Makiv. So in other words, we do have the Oir HaSovev. So what he's saying is the Oir HaSovev has no comparison to the world, because it's the world would not be created from Oir HaSovev. So it's a siluk, is a tzimtzum. So relative to the Oir HaSovev, the worlds are all equal. Ein Aroich, Atzilus and Asiya are equal. But that level becomes the Sovev Kalam. It surrounds the world. So there's at least a level of Makiv, who Agilu the Ein Sof Shalifnei HaTzimtzum. So that is the revelation of the Ein Sof Lifnei HaTzimtzum in a way of Makiv, at least Makiv. Lochein, Al Yidei Oir HaSovev Nirgosh Behem Bebechinas HaMakiv HaKoponim HaSovev, that you have a Makiv Shein Be'ein Aroich, that they're in the level of Ein Aroich, that there is no comparison. So, in the world, basically, you have the Mamala Kol Almim, and you have the Sovev Kol Almim, or you have the light that's Sovev, Oir HaSovev Oir HaMali. The Oir HaSovev, that's the level where there's Ein Aroich, relative to the Oir HaSovev, Milo Mato, the Atzilus and Biyah are equal. Relative to the Oir HaKav, then there's a difference. So this all tells us V'zehu shegam ba'atzilus u'lomaylo ma'atzilus yesh maylo mato. And this is why in Atzilus and also higher in Atzilus maylo mato. D'zeh shehem b'seder v'adroga di'ilu v'alul, the part that they are in a order and step by step of Ilov all cause and effect, that they go from step to, which means they have some comparison. Who hamato shabahem. That's the lower level within Atzilus, or even higher than Atzilus. That the lower level is that there is a gradual descent. There is a hishtalshlus over there. That's the mato shabahem. That's the low. That's the mato within Atzilus. And this that they feel in Atzilus and higher than Atzilus through the Oir HaSovev, that they are be'ein aroich. They have no comparison. That's the higher level of them. So, which means in Atzilus, they get from the Oir HaSovev and they get from the Oir HaMamali. So relative to the Oir Hamemale, they feel they are a gradual descent from the Ein Sof, so they feel connected to the Ein Sof through the gradual, through the Oir Hamemale, through the Kav. That sense that the Oilamus, the Bia that Atzilus feels, and higher than Atzilus, that's the motto, because there is a gradual and there is already a descent from step to step. That's called the motto. The feeling that they get from the Oir HaSeviv, which the Eberster is Ein Aroich, that's the Milo Shabbat. So that's Milo Mato within Atzilus. Then you also have, on the other hand, Shagam B'Biyah Yesho Inyan de Milo. That also in Biyah there is the idea of Milo. Why? Ki Oir HaSeviv, that energy we get from the Oir HaSeviv, that's a non-comparable to the creations who Seviv Makiv as Kol Oilamas. That surrounds all worlds. Gam Oilamas Biyah, also the words of Biyah. V'lochein, and therefore, mitzad Oir HaSeviv sheyeshna b'hem b'makiv u'b'helem. So, from the perspective of the Seviv that exists in the Biyah, from in a makiv, in a hidden. Gam b'nivroim yesh harotzoy v'habitl. Also in the nivroim there is that desire and the bitl b'metzias of existence. Shu ha'mayla shabahem. That is the higher part of them. So basically, mitzad soivev, both Atzilus and mitzad the soivev, they have the level of bittel of rotzoi, because it's not comparable to the level of soivev, and there's ein aroich, and therefore it's a bittel b'mitzias, mitzad the level of soivev kolal, mitzad the eira soivev. And mitzad the level of memale, mitzad the level of kav, even in Atzilus, there's also a level of a gradual, and there is be'erach, and there is ishtalshlus, and therefore that's the maila within. So maila in Atzilus and the mata within Biyar all comes together from the Eir HaMemala and the Eir HaSevim. Now, the fact that we're saying maila, so the first Maila means Atzilus. Maila means within Atzilus, the level of the Eir HaSevim, which is within the Maila, it's a Maila. When we say Mata, we're talking about Biyah, and we're saying Biyah is Mata, and within Biyah, the Mata meaning the Eir HaKav, which they feel like a Metzias. Based on this, we understand the double loshon. We say lemailo mailo chulu, and then we say lemato mato chulu. Ki hamailo umato sheba'olames ubishtayim. Because the mailo matos in the world, there's two aspects over here. Aleph, the number one is sha'atzilus humailo ubiyahe mato. First of all, that Atzilus is called above, the upper, and Biyah is the lower. But Ubeis, and number two, Habitl v'harotzi, Milo, sheyeshna gam b'Biyah. There is also the level of Bitl, the Rotzi, the Milo, which is also in Biyah. So that's Milo, is Atzilus, Milo, which is the Bitl the Rotzi. That expresses whether it's Biyah or Atzilus. That exists also in Biyah. And also V'ametzias Mato sheyeshna gam b'Atzilus, u'l'maylam Atzilus. But you also have the Metzias, the Mato, which exists also by Atzilus and higher than Atzilus. Over there's also one. So there's Mata, Milo, and Mata is Atzilus and Biyah. And Milo, Mata. The second one expresses how in each one of the worlds we have the level of Rotzi, which exists also in the worlds of Biyah, and we also have the Mata, the level of Metzias, which exists also in Atzilus and Lamaylam Atzilus. So basically, the Rebbe added over here in the Ois to explain to us that Maila does not just include Atzilus and Mata Biyah, but within Atzilus, as the Rebbe explained, that relative to the Ein Sof, Shalifne Hatzimtzum, which is the Shever HaShever Kol Almin, all the worlds, the Maila and the Mata, are Be'ein HaReich, and therefore it brings out a Rotze Bittel B'Metzias. It's Milo, and that would be even in the Eir, even in Biyah. And the Mata expresses the level of Metzias, which even in Atzilus and higher than Atzilus, Mitzad the Eir HaKav, Mitzad the Ishtalshalus, over there's also Metzias, it's an entity, and that's why it's Milo, Mata. And the Rebbe now goes further to say that not only in Atzilus and Biyah, but also within the roots of Memali and Seviv, which is the Eir HaKav, there's also the two Madregas, because while we're saying the Eir HaSeviv comes from Lifnei HaTzimtzum, and then you have the Eir HaKav, but the Rebbe brings out now that the Eir HaKav, which comes in the Tzimtzum, has a root also in Lifnei HaTzimtzum. So Lifnei HaTzimtzum, you have the Eir Ein Sof, which is the Shoresh of Soviv, but also the Eir HaKav has a Shoresh in Lifnei HaTzimtzum as well. Let's look inside. Hine Yodua Ches, Hine Yodua, it's known, the Eir HaKav yesh lo shoresh gam b'ha'oir shel lifnei hatzimtzum. That also the Eir HaKav, not only the Eir HaSeviv Kol Almim has a shoresh in lifnei hatzimtzum, but also the Eir HaKav that comes down la'achar hatzimtzum has a root in the Eir shel lifnei hatzimtzum. So now we have the Eir HaSeviv comes from Lifnei HaTzimtzum, but he's saying that also the Eir HaKav has a root in Lifnei HaTzimtzum. So he's saying the Be'oir shel Lifnei HaTzimtzum yesh bechlolus beis madreges. In the light that is before the Tzimtzum, generally speaking, there is two steps, two levels. K'moi shehu koidem she'olo b'ritzoyne lahatzil v'livroi. The way it was before it enters his will to make a maitzel and to create, the level in the oir, which he didn't, before he had the intention to create, the oz hoyo lemailo mishaychus loilmes, then the Ein Sof was in a way that it was above having a connection to the world. And as it is after it entered his will to be Meisel and to create. Through that, he became defined that he's already connected to the world. So in the Ein Sof of Lifnei HaTzimtzum, we have two steps, two parts of there. The one before he had the Rotzin creating the world. Before he had that Rotzin, there was no connection to the world. And then after he decided that he wants to create the world, then he has already a connection to the world. And these are all in the Ein Sof Lifnei HaTzimtzum. Ubeis Madreges Elo, and these two steps, Hem HaShoresh, the Eir HaSeviv, or the Eir HaMemale, Shel Achar HaTzimtzum, they are the root for the Eir HaSeviv, Eir HaMemale that comes after the Tzimtzum. The Eir HaSeviv, Shorshehu Ba'eir Shakoidem Alois HaRotzin. The light of Seviv is rooted in the light in which before Hashem had the Rotzin to create worlds. But Eir HaMemale, but the Eir HaKav, That is rooted in the light of where the Ratzin came up. So Seviv Kol Almim is rooted in the Ein Sof that is before the Ratzin came up, and the Eira Mamale is after the Ratzin came up. Bezehu, and this is another taich now in Lamailo Mailo and Lamata Mata. Bezehu Oirin Sof Lamailo Mailo Adin Ketz. Ulamata Mata Adin Tachlis. Higher than Ketz Mata Tach. The Shneiho in Yonim. These two in Yonim. The Lamailo Mailo Chulu, Lamata Mata Chulu, and Beoirin Sof Atzma. These two ideas of higher meaning Ein Aroich, not connected to the world. Lamata Mata, where there's a Metzias, a world there in the Eiris of Atzmei, in the Eiris of himself, in the level of the Eiris of before the Ratzin, and the level of the Eiris of after he had the Ratzin. So this is be the Maila and the Mata Mata. So first the Rebbe added Maila Mata Atzilus and Biyah. Then he added within Atzilus and Biyah we have the Eira Sev of the Eira Mamale. Now he's talking about the root of the Eira Sevev and the Eira Mamale. So even the Eira Sof Lifnei HaTzimtzum, there is also the two levels. There's the level before he had the desire for world, which has then that level of the Eir has no connection to the world. Then we have the Eir which is connected to the world, and that's already Shaykh to the Tzimtzum. Test. V'hine Yadua, but it's known the Ha'oir Koidem Shenizgala, that the Eir before it was revealed, Hoyakolu Ba'atzmus HaMoir Mamish. It was included in the essence of the Moir. So the Eir HaSevev, which has the two levels, before it became a level of Eir, it was part of the Moir. Elo Shebihi Yose Kolul Ba'hamoir, but as the Eir is included in the luminary, in the Moir, Eine Bechinas Eir Klal. That's not called, so it's not a level of Eir. It's only that he has the potential to meir. So now we have these two levels of oir that we discussed about in Lifnei HaTzimtzum, the level of before the Ratzin, the level of after the Ratzin, that both these levels were included in the Atzmus himself, and not in a way of oir, but the chotel oir. So based on this, we should need to say that the shtei hamadreges hanal ba'oir, that these two above mentioned lights that the oir has, the oir and sof shebebechinas, gilui shelifnei hatzimtzum, that the two levels of oir that is revealed, it's an oir for the tzimtzum. We said there is two levels. The Sherish of the Savior, the one that comes before the Rosh and after the Rosh. Yesh lahem Sherish gam be'ira kol. So they have a root also in that light before it was the way it's included. And they're not even in the level of oir. There's also the two madregas. So what's the point of the explanation? What are the two levels, the way they're included in Atzmus? The Zeh Atzmus biyicholte lahoir. When we say that the Atzmus has the ability to shine, that's the Choilus, that's the source in the Atzmus. That's not a very specific matter, God forbid, a source for the oil. We're saying in Atzmus there's a source for oil, a very specific, defined level. It is the Eibush that can do everything. So in the Moir, in the luminary, in the Atzmus, it's his all able to. That's the level of Kol Yochel, that he can do anything. The Mizem move on. So from that we understand. The Bahayichoilos Lahoir, when we talk about the ability that he could shine, Kimoishu Ba'atzmus, as it's in Atzmus, that he could or could not, Yesh Gama Yichoilos Shaloi Lahoir. He can also not shine. There's the ability to shine and not to shine, both. These two parts of ability to shine and ability not to shine, those are the sources of the Maila and the Mata, Ushneim. And these two, the fact that he is able to shine, and also he has the ability not to shine, they're one. So in potential, in the ability, in the yichaylas, there's one, yes to shine and not to shine. That's all in Atzmus, the source of the oiris, which is already an entity as it comes out from the outside of the Atzmus. So what is the light that is kolu b'atzmusay? It's not any metzius of Oir Chaz V'Sholom, like you said before, but it's only the fact that Atzmut has the ability to shine. It's a yichaylis that. The yichaylis lizezu yesh gama yichaylis lo lohoyer. In that level of yichaylis potential ability, he could shine or also not to shine. And therefore, gam ki Moshe Oir nimshach begilu. So therefore, also as the oil comes out openly, which means it becomes already the level of oil, yesh bo shnei ha'inyonim. This oil has the two ideas, the halam begili. It comes from in the yichaylis, which has both halam and gili. They're together, but it has two inyonim, halam and gili. It has lamaylam, mishaychus loylam, as shaychus loylam, the two levels in the oil. In the Oishalifnat Tzimtzum, one that is higher than connection to the world, the Shodesh of Seviv Kulalmim, and one that has a Shaykh La'ilma, the Shodesh of the Kab. Shehem HaShodesh, the Seviv Mamali, which are the Shodesh of Seviv Mamali. Shalachrat Tzimtzum, after the Tzimtzum. Shehem Nasa, Milo Mata, Sheba is from them, becomes the Milo Matas, which is in the world. So basically, what the Rebbe says, the Rebbe keeps on speaking in even higher madregas, going a higher madrega. The Rebbe says the shoydish of Seviv Kulamim, Maluk Kulamim are in Atzmus. And in Atzmus, it's a level of potential. And when we talk about potential, it's not like there's a potential specific to light, but it's a potential for doing everything. That level of potential can shine and not shine, can gilui and not gilui. The source from that, therefore, came out the two levels in the oir, as it came out in the level of oir, that one is the level of Helam, and one is the level of Gili. One is the level of Maila, and one is the level of Mata. From this, later on, we get the two levels of after the Tzimtzum. You get the level of Oir HaSeviv, and then you have the level of the Kav, the Oir HaMemali, which brings the feeling of an entity, the Mata, and a feeling of expiring. Basically, we explain the levels in the world, in Bia, all of in Atzilus also, we explained the relationship to the Oir HaMemale and the relationship to the Oir HaSeviv, which the Memale is the Kav, the Seviv is the Oir Shalifnei HaTzimtzum. Then we took it up a step to the Lifnei HaTzimtzum, we took it up, and we talked about the two levels, the Shodesh of the Kav in Lifnei HaTzimtzum, and the Shodesh of the Oir HaSeviv in Lifnei HaTzimtzum. And then we took it even higher into the Atzmus, which is Kolu, which the Oir is Kolu B'Moir, the Yechelis and the non-Yechelis, to potential to bring light and not light. And that's the source for all of the, eventually, that there goes L'maylo Maylo, L'mato Mato, and we shall continue tomorrow, Be'ezus Hashem.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.